Hi everyone, I'm Selena for Who is Jesus Today. How's it going out there? I know, that irritates some people, I think, When I say it though, I'm not trying to be, a fake here. When God gets a hold of your heart, you don't want to see people suffering. And there's people who don't know Christ, but to see people suffering, it really gets to their hearts. To think of babies pulled from their parents and burned alive. Young girls are raped. I'm going to talk about a little hypocrisy. Because there's something that, if you want to get me a little, feisty, and I'm going to have to start to wet some of the perspiration off my head. A little oily. I get oily in the day. I better not complain. Need some of those oils. Okay? Is if you curse me out, I'm not asking for that. It's wrong. It's ungodly, disrespectful. But I tend to have more tolerance and endurance for someone who will just be outright, themselves and nasty to my face and just really tell me off and walk away than someone that plays the role of nice and fake, and they care. Hypocrisy. That they care about the plight of children, unborn children. Are they really concerned about babies being aborted, kids being burned? Or are they more concerned about defending their political view, party, or their political favorite candidate? I'm going to try and make this not a long video. This is a hit and run. I'm watching my time. A hit and run. And I'm going to include myself in this too, because it becomes a trend and a way of thinking. You get pulled into where the masses are heading off to, and you got to get yourself off of that road and say, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is not the heart of God. So when you look at social media and you look at what has been going on since the attack on Israel, the war. Yes, an attack on Israel. That's hard for some people to say, as if, how hard would it be to say if there's an attack on American soil? Right? If there's an attack on a major American city. If it's the city that you are living in, and if it's close to you, it's going to be a serious issue. Okay? So, yes, a sovereign nation came under attack. Now, for some that says, well, there is no Israel and the nation doesn't have to exist. Well, does the United States exist? Because I'm going to say, by some popular demand, people who live right here in the U.S., the United States of America, don't feel that the U.S. really has a right to exist as it has been existing. That's what a lot of this is all about, with kind of undoing of the United States, breaking down the Constitution, and doing America all over again. So, in other words, the land can stay the same. The geography is going to stay in place, but uprooting and undoing the traditional ways that of the U.S. was founded is really at risk. And so there are those that are actually citizens of the United States and are very bent on really annihilating how the nation has been existing under the Constitution, the rule of law. They just want a new United States of America. How many out there are really for that? Oh, I know there are. There's definitely those who are in favor. That's what there's been kind of this internal war that's been going on in the U.S. now for a while. Remember the last election? Make America great again? A whole lot of you are on a bandwagon of persuasion. Right. Christians and non-Christians, let's just be honest. And then a whole lot of people on the other side see you as a threat to the demise of the U.S. And then those on the other side, right, of the woke, you see them as a threat to the existence of the U.S. People of the United States of America, those of you that are out there, and those that are from other parts of the world but happen to, say, reside in the U.S., this situation here is just as much worth putting on the table in some ways, the existence of the U.S. as it has been known, as opposed to it's time to change it all. And there are those who are really fighting against that. You know who you are. Okay? And at the same time, those that want to keep of the nation a certain way of the founding fathers, I'm against the death of babies in the womb, and also against babies that are out of the womb, and the trafficking of children, and the sacrificing of children. And all that is happening in the United States at large. And it can be kind of silent until it's time for the elections again, right? And so now, the side is pro-life and pro-choice. And when it's time to bring about a change in laws, these people, they come out in the streets. And now, you got those. And I have to really say that you wouldn't even know that some people care that much about babies and the unborn until it's time for a change in elections or the presidency or say other Congress people and officials. You wouldn't know that many people may be really concerned about, say, human trafficking until it's something that is leaning towards now a political party, a political leader. Cause and effect. That's right. Cause and effect. Caring more about, keeping a nation intact constitutionally, which is good. I have to say, I'm of that persuasion, okay? But not stirring up now your a passion to save children, babies, kids are murdered in the streets, and a whole lot of people turning just cold about all of the babies that are killed in Israel, decapitated. Some say it's not true, some say it is. Listen to this. Torture. Torture is torture. Okay? People have been tortured. And babies. Young girls are raped. Dads. Got any daughters out there? Can you imagine? 12, 13, 16 years old. A beautiful young girl. Your daughter. You want her to be saved for marriage. And someone breaks in your home and decides that their daughter is yours. Doesn't matter what you think. just the highest level of torture. Now let's go into the people of Palestine. Also, there are some great atrocities. Right, and people having to be displaced and move from one place to another, from one place to another. Some of you may not know this about me. Well, you probably don't if I haven't said it, right? I know on a small scale what it is to live a nomadic lifestyle. In fact, I have a liking to being a nomad. Not as much now. I've settled down with that. But for me to live in one state this year, another state the next year, another country the next, that has been something that I have learned to adapt to. But when you have women with several children and whole families have to be uprooted and migrated, my thinking has been on the Palestinian families who have to be suddenly pulled out of their homes and territories, if it's even left. My point is, what would it be like if you imagine if the internet was just going viral and exploding with prayers for people on all sides? Hearing constantly, should a nation even exist? But when there's been so much death of innocent people, and not just on one side, and people say how much they're against abortion, but your heart isn't aching and broken, and some people are. And I think you've been the silent ones, the ones that are praying and lamenting, right? And yes, God has called me to pray, and I need to continue to pray and to pray more and to be really very intentional about it, not just telling others. But I'm just saying, you imagine the energy on the internet to be praying for people to be healed and saved, praying for, say, Hamas to have a change of heart. The Apostle Paul was on a mission to kill, annihilate Christians. On the road to Damascus, right there in Syria, the capital of Syria, Damascus. Right. Whether people are Jews or not, because people kind of going back and forth with that, but there are those who can trace some of our history right back to those turbulent places on the map that has been in war for a long time. Syria, Lebanon, the land of Judah, which is now called Palestine, northern Israel, Jordan, the region of Moab. You cannot deny that just about more than any other place around the world, that hub, which isn't that huge, let's just also say Iraq, which is further over, has been conflict after conflict. You think there's no meaning to that? You think there's no, say, a purpose behind that? Conflict after conflict. Because really, the conflict in the Middle East isn't just about Israel and Palestine. If we know our history in the Bible, you forget your history in the encyclopedia. If you just Google online, there's been issues for a while with Lebanon. Beautiful country. Beautiful country. I would like to actually see it one day. It's in the plan. Yes. You see? But you don't hear people saying that, Lebanon doesn't have the right to exist. I say it does. Of course it does. Like I say, some of us have ties to the Middle East. So I want it to exist. I want the whole Middle East to exist. It's an interesting place. That's right. Very close to our neighbor, Africa. Also a very interesting continent with so much diversity. It's almost like these other places, they don't really say have to exist, and if they do, they do. But the only time we really want to think about them is like now, when there's something that is escalating in the world, which is a conflict. And now we got people going back and forth. I don't think you'll ever see this towards the nation of Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Turkey, Morocco, Libya. And I'm for all of these countries. I mean, I'm for the people. Not for all of the government, but for the people. Because the gospel is inclusive. There's a large Christian community, by the way, in Lebanon. So, no one's saying should say Malta exists. Should say Sicily exists. I'm just really throwing it all out there. But what is it about Israel that's such an irritant? I've never heard anyone say that, say Cyprus shouldn't say really be there. To be honest, there's two places on the map that's a hot spot where there are those that are for it either staying on the map or being removed. One is Israel. The next is the United States of America. Fellow U.S. citizens, there's a lot of adversaries that would rather you not continue to exist the way you have been. And you know where a whole lot of them are? Right in the backyard. U.S. citizens themselves that want to change the whole scope of the history of the land of the United States of America. And some out there that's why there's a whole lot of videos out there, right, about the attacks on the U.S., the attack on the sovereignty of the United States, the Constitution, because some hold this Constitution like it is just, like you hold on to it for life. But can you kind of just relate some more of how Israelis are holding on to their, say, nation? You're holding on to your Constitution, they're holding on to their nation. You're holding on to the right to bear arms, they're holding on for the right of their territory to be sovereign and in their hands. And so, a whole lot of talk about that nation existing. To the United States, there are people all around the world, especially amongst some Middle Eastern nations, that's right, that doesn't want to really see you around either. Not the way you've been going. Right. How do you feel that whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, woke or not, or what else, conservative, that there are people that look at everyone in the hemisphere as nothing more than infidels? You can say you're red and blue. No, infidel. No, I'm a Christian. Oh, I'm agnostic. Infidels. How do you like that? How do you like that? Do you know what they say about infidels? They don't belong around either. I didn't say that. I don't believe that. So don't try and put that on me. I'm saying what they say. Just like people say, well, that place shouldn't be, or this or that. I only know two places now on the map that there is some opinions out there that they shouldn't be around. I'm for the existence of the United States of America and Israel, keeping it all intact. Right, but what I think is, I'm not holding down the floor. It's going to take a miracle from God to do that. But I'm saying, what is the opinions surrounding these regions, and why I say it's a lot of hypocrisy? Because are we really for dying kids? Oh, a whole lot of you are. There's people out there that can't sleep. They're crying. I know. And some people they know of people already in those areas. I think it has a lot to do, in a way, with something about people being more selected out and chosen or special. Because to be honest with you, as people who have all a prideful nature, we are troubled very deeply when someone is considered maybe more special than us or called out. We are troubled by the word, some even chosen. False humility, because God's word is clear about people being chosen, his children, the body of Christ. You have to be called out and marked so that you are marked for eternal life with God and not in hell. Because if you don't have that mark, if you're not called out, if you're not elect and chosen, then where do you plan to spend your eternity? It's something about the word, because we start to think about status, right? We have to admit that we internalize a lot of things about each other in the terms of classism. Not just racism, but people don't pay enough attention to classism. Who is better than the other? Who can outperform the other? Who is more gifted than the other? Who is called and who is not? Who has the anointing and who doesn't? Who is more special and who's not? In a lot of ways, we are all kind of childlike in that. Some people can gravitate more to a need to be special than others. Yeah, a whole lot of attention, a whole lot of it, especially at once, can make me feel very uncomfortable, as opposed to it being something that I really want. This is why I've not been in a big, hurry to grow my channel, and I talk to just a few people, because if I get some people in a month, well, I think I get about 300 to 400 people to view my channel in a month. That's good. 400 people is a lot of people. That's a lot for me. I know there's some that probably like it and some that don't, but say whatever. It's building up the channel, right? I appreciate that, but still, I don't know who all of those viewers are, and I don't need to know. Right, because that's not really my goal right now. My goal is what I'm doing. That someone will hear the word and the truth. And, just let's stop so much of the hypocrisy that we really care about babies. Yeah, we care about them in the womb, but even when they're out of the womb, you got to still care about them. All over the world. Doesn't matter if it's a Palestinian baby, a Jewish baby, white baby, black baby, Caucasian, a French baby, a Jamaican baby, a Saudi Arabian baby. All of their lives are precious. Right. So let's, really examine our hearts, because from the out of the abundance of the heart, right? We speak. We are. There are so many that they're just so pulled between a political way of thinking, an agenda that's selfishly rooted, trying to prove one is right and the other is wrong, trying to make someone feel where you're not that important or special, or you're not better than me, or yeah. You see, what we are projecting is what we're actually often feeling. If you're thinking that you have to make sure that no one feels more important than you all the time, then it's like you are projecting that you feel that people are more important. Honestly, we tend to project what we actually think, feel, and believe. That's true for all of us. I'm not excluding myself. That's why I try to be careful what I think, because what I think, I will project. But you see, what I'm saying right now is that, hey, can we shift our thinking a lot on these hurt lives? The death, the pain, the loss. You have kids out there, right? People will never see their kids again. Imagine being kidnapped. I lived in a society, I'm not going to call it out, and some of you may probably guess, where, say kidnapping is something that is common, and you are going around and you are thinking, I never want to become a victim that's taken away and kidnapped. And I'm not talking about the U.S. And so, although that's pretty common here too, of course, but someplace where historically it has been a big concern for the populations in that region of the world. How do you feel that there are those that just feel that the U.S. should not exist? Because that is out there. And so if you think that that's not also a strong sentiment, some of you do know, but I think some of you you kind of got a little out of focus here, focusing so much on Israel. And that, who are the Hebrews? And yeah, you're talking about a region where people migrate. People migrate from Central Asia into Israel. People have migrated from Africa into Israel, from Yemen, from Egypt. This has been going on for a long time. The human tapestry does not fall into the way that the United States categorizes people in the census. You got to put that away. That's not how things have been happening in the ancient world. People also are categorized ethnically by their religious beliefs. And it's not easy to just take all of that and compile it in how you think in the red, white, and blue. But there are those that don't want to see the American flag either waving in the sky, like they don't want to see the Israeli flag waving over Israel. And you think about that. But I can't think of any other country right now to call out where there are those who are on a mission to specifically demolish your sovereignty more than Israel and the United States of America. something to think about. I don't believe that my perception is wrong. That's what I've been looking at since 2020 on the internet, is trying to keep America alive, trying to keep America going the way it's been going. And those that say no, it's wrong. It's built on all colonialization. It's built on injustices. It's built on supremacy. And now, no, that kind of America shouldn't exist. And then you got a other side saying, well, that's the only America that we should know and have. All of this internal strife, you don't have to wait for outsiders to take down the United States. That can happen more and more from right within. So the biggest threat to the demise of the United States of America is not really from outside either, but it's from within. But you see, divide and conquer is very effective. That's why it keeps being used. So now if you have people that are so conflicting within, then those that are outside, they can watch, they go, oh boy, now's the time. Those people are weak. They're as weak as ever. They can't agree on nothing. Should you have a scrambled eggs, or boiled eggs, or sunny side up, or, I don't know, whatever. Scramble, easy, whatever. They don't know. They can't agree on anything. Not even how to scramble not even how to serve their eggs. They don't agree on anything. Now is the time. Take them down. Okay? And then for Christians, an attack against Israel. I believe you really search the scriptures and see, not America, but the believers around the world, there's an alignment there. Understand that following Jesus, when we came to follow Christ, we were already on a list as well to not keep existing. That's right. Satan himself, he's got that list. Right. That's right. But greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. Please, the hypocrisy, do you really care? Do we really care? Or it's just about pushing something that makes us look better outside? Defending sides or defending the rights of human beings to survive and to exist? Fighting for the unborn and forgetting about the ones that are being slaughtered in any country around the world? There's something wrong with that picture. What do you think? Okay, that's enough. Call it what you want, but I had to speak. The heart speaketh. The heart speaketh. I think that's somewhere in literature. The heart speaketh, and now the heart goes silent. You can like and subscribe. Until next time, shalom.